If I asked you to think of a beautiful metro or subway system right now, I could make a good bet that you'd likely think of somewhere like Paris, or Moscow, or Stockholm. Or if, like me, you're a fan of a certain era of architecture, maybe you'd think of Montreal or DC. And I don't disagree. But in the conversation of beautiful underground networks, it's much more rare for anyone to bring up Lisbon. And I'm here to change that. The capital city of Portugal is one of the most visually stunning cities out there. Very possibly my favourite place in the world. Artists have flocked here for centuries. They say the light is just different here. But of course, I like spending my time underground, well away from the blazing light. So, let me show you around the best bits of the Metro de Lisboa. From the moment you step onto one of the trains, there are already quintessentially Portuguese touches on display. The seat covers are made from cork, which Portugal produces more than half the world's supply of. And very quickly, you see that, like many of the best transit systems, Lisbon treats its metro like one giant subterranean art gallery. Every single station has new artistic, decorative or architectural details to discover. One of the most common sights are beautifully and intricately hand-painted tile patterns. Painted azulejos are another popular and iconic Portuguese tradition. There are nods to the city's tumultuous history, famous faces and places, and plenty of abstract beauty to find too. Basically, pick a station, any station, and it will have something unique to reveal to you. I couldn't possibly hope to show you them all in one short video, so I can't recommend a visit enough. But I will take you to a handful of my very favourites though. But not before I quickly touch on the graphic design. If you know me, you know I care about design a lot. I've yapped at length about the typeface design on the Tainawea Metro, and Lisbon has some lovely flourishes in its visual system I can't not mention. The 4 lines of blue, green, yellow and red, but the shades of those colours are quite different to the standard ones you'll see on most metro maps around the world. They feel very appropriate to this most colourful city. And the pièce de résistance is that each line has its own pictogram, and they actually correspond to what the lines used to be called: gaivota, seagull, caravela, caravel, girasol, sunflower, and oriente, east. They give the lines their own unique vibe that I really love. And I can't not point out the line diagram in the trains themselves. From a designer's perspective, they're just absolutely beautifully made. And the metro here is actually about to undergo a big reorganisation. The green line is currently being extended and turned into a big loop, which will leave the yellow line as nothing more than a little stub. After that, there are already plans for a new suburban light rail line in the north, and an extension of the red line west from San Sebastián. So, lots of growth. But now, let's finally see some stations. Let's start with Terreiro do Paço, a vast cavern that has shades of the Westminster Jubilee Line station in London, in that it sometimes feels more like a cross between a space station and a nuclear bunker. For an underground station right next to the river and one of Lisbon's busiest public squares, it's impressively cavernous. A quick stop next at Caixa do Sodré, which features an azulejo version of the White Rabbit from Alice's Adventures in Wonderland, mostly because I enjoy the words "I'm late" being plastered on the walls at a perpetually busy commuter station. And a quick mention to an incredible station name. Senhor Roubado translates to the Stolen Lord, named after a local lost statue of Christ. Next, and definitely vying for the crown of most beautiful station, let's go to Parque on the Blue Line. Now this feels like a Parisian station gone absolutely ham. The whole thing's painted a beautiful, relaxing deep sea blue with maps and inscriptions relating to philosophy and the golden age of maritime exploration, and beautifully wrought Art Nouveau details dotted throughout. I absolutely adore just sitting in this station, so the longer the wait for the next train, the better. Speaking of, head to Picoish station on the Yellow Line, and once you reach the surface, you'll actually find yourself in Paris. Yep, there's a replica Parisian Guimard metro entrance on Rue Andrade de Corvo. It was a gift from the RATP who run the transport in Paris, and the RATP really has to like you to give you one of these special bad boys. Another station I'm sure they're fans of, just like me, is the busy central interchange of Baixa Chiado. Not only does this station consist of gigantic curved tunnels, all covered in sparklingly white tiles, but it's a cross-platform transfer with two caverns side by side in parallel. This station just proves that there is beauty in simplicity. The white walls feel traditional and historic, while the walkways and glass add a modern flair, and it's all lit so gorgeously. For the showpiece Central Station, hang on, that looks like the Angel of the North. No notes. Anyway, Baixa Chiado has such an impeccable vibe that I'd happily call it my favourite station on the system, if it wasn't for the crown jewel, the station that takes the cake and scoffs it. Olaish. There's a chance you've heard of this station, and if you haven't, you might be about to wonder why the hell not, because, frankly, it's a bit of a fever dream. Designed by architect Thomas Taveira, and with installations from a number of artists, this is nothing less than a vast steampunk cathedral, featuring a smorgasbord of rivets and metallic grills and tiled mosaics and a whole lot of stained glass. It seems almost impossibly big and airy while somehow also feeling totally disorienting. It's overwhelming in a good way, and I can see how it divides tastes and opinions. But to me, Olaish is hard proof that a metro station does not have to look boringly functional. It can be fun and whimsical and stunning. It can set out to be something spectacular in its own right. And that's what the Lisbon Metro as a whole makes me feel. It started out under a repressive authoritarian regime, but ever since, it's completely come into its own as a special network that's full of unique charm and beauty. It feels like a relative of metros in near neighbours like Paris and Madrid, but not at all derivative of them. I think people need to start giving Lisbon its flowers. Have you been on the Lisbon Metro? What did you think of it? Are there any other criminally underrated transport networks you know? Let me know in the comments. Thanks very much for watching. See you next time.